If you're anything like my dad, you don't have the time, patience, or care to sit through 3 different animated kids shows on your own. You've seen the main movies and TV shows, so you're kind of familiar with the lore, but not entirely. I'm gonna save you 100 hours worth of your time and energy, no nonsense, so you don't have to watch all that and can get straight into the lore-heavy Star Wars show, Ahsoka.
The name's Ahsoka Tano.
After Star Wars Episode 2, Ahsoka Tano is introduced in the animated movie Star Wars The Clone Wars as the new surprise apprentice to Anakin Skywalker, who is of course reluctant and unwilling to take her on. She's immature, snippy, and strong-headed, much like Anakin to his dismay. Despite these qualities though, Ahsoka is eager to prove herself and make a difference in the galaxy. After her first battle, rescuing Jabba the Hutt's son, and fighting off a couple of Sith, Anakin and Ahsoka come to grow fond of each other and gain mutual respect. He saw a lot of himself in her, and they both share the rule breaker mentality, making them the perfect duo. She calls him Sky Guy and he calls her Snips, and they have a sibling type of relationship. Anakin grows as well as Ahsoka in a way that we've never seen before. They go through a lot together, both Anakin, Ahsoka, and of course, Obi-Wan. In the Clone Wars show, you come to understand the clones more and grow fond of each character. It gives depth to the clones' relationship with the Jedi, and when Ahsoka accidentally gets her clone squadron killed, she goes through a defining learning moment. It's there she's able to bond with Anakin's squadron, who we see in the movies. But mainly it's Captain Rex, the squadron leader, who bonds with her more than the other clones. Ahsoka then matures and is able to go on more missions. It's on one of these missions where Ahsoka comes into contact with the Mandalorians, mainly Bo-Katan, who originally started her journey as part of a terrorist group. Ahsoka comes to understand the division between the Mandalorians, which also explains why Din Djarin's group would be so different compared to the others in the future series. Basically, one half wanted peace and the other half wanted to go back to their traditional warrior roots. But it's here where Ahsoka forms a connection with the Mandalorians that would pay off later. We also learn that Darth Maul is alive and more about a society of witches called the Night Sisters, which just so happens to be that this character would be one of those witches. Some time passes where Ahsoka, Anakin, Obi-Wan, Rex, and Padme all go on silly adventures, solidifying their bond and friendship, even expanding upon Anakin's relationship with both Padme and Obi-Wan. But on one fateful day, Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka were traveling through space and stumbled upon the enigmatic Force realm / planet called Mortis, allegedly where the Force originated from. It's there we meet the father, the son, and the daughter, each representing a different side of the Force. We come to learn that they summoned Anakin there because he was the chosen one and was said to balance the Force. The father was soon to be dead and wanted Anakin to take over his role. However, things go wrong and Anakin sees a vision of what he will become and falls into the dark side. Eventually though, he returns to the light and the trio decides to leave Mortis, but the father wouldn't allow that without Anakin staying. This caused the son to go unchecked and ended up murdering both the daughter and Ahsoka. Except the daughter in her dying breath transferred her life essence into Ahsoka, reviving her. The embodiment of the light side is now within Ahsoka herself, who now has the daughter's pet owl following and protecting her. This owl is seen in the background of The Mandalorian as well, so it might be familiar to you. As they leave the realm, the father erases the trio's memory, and everything seemingly goes back to normal for a bit, until the Jedi Temple was bombed, and Ahsoka was blamed for the crime. Ahsoka was put into trial and convicted by none other than Senator Palpatine. She was kicked out of the Jedi Order, and no one believed her innocence except for Anakin and Padme, who relentlessly tried to uncover the truth. Turns out Ahsoka was set up by a fellow Padawan who was now corrupted. Once the truth was revealed, the Jedi acquitted her of her charges and welcomed her back into the Order, but the damage had already been done. Ahsoka decided to reject the Jedi and leave on her own. Anakin is upset and begs her to come back, and it's here we see how far they've come. Nothing could convince Ahsoka, and she leaves Anakin there, causing him to lose faith in the Jedi that would soon fall apart. Fast forward a couple of years, nearing the end of the Clone Wars, Darth Maul is taking over Mandalore, and Bo-Katan, who is no longer a terrorist, reaches out to Ahsoka for help. They also ask the Jedi for help. Anakin and Ahsoka are finally reunited after many, many years. As a sign of respect, he gives Ahsoka 2 lightsabers and gives her part of his clone division, as suggested by the clones themselves. She takes her half of the clones and goes to Mandalore to fight, while Anakin takes his half to confront Count Dooku. This would be the last time they ever saw each other. It's there we see the siege on the planet Mandalore, and Ahsoka confronts Darth Maul, who warns her about Palpatine manipulating Anakin to the dark side. Unwilling to believe him, Ahsoka fights Darth Maul in the coolest lightsaber battle in Star Wars history and wins, turning him over to the Mandalorians. Peace seems to have been obtained, but everything fails due to Order 66. The clones turn on her, and she has to fight the clones off. Eventually, Ahsoka manages to escape her ship alive, except those clones she came to grow fond of didn't. She buries them and her lightsabers, leaving behind the gift from Anakin. It's for this reason she no longer considers herself a Jedi. Then the rest of Episode 3 happens, leading us to Star Wars Rebels, taking place before Episode 4. Ezra Bridger is the Force-sensitive protagonist kid and lives alone on a planet called Lothal. While scavenging, he stumbles upon a group of rebels that would eventually take him in. The members included former Mandalorian tech-savvy Sabine Wren, Zeb Orrelios, the legend, a droid Chopper, Jedi Kanan Jarrus, who would train Ezra, and finally Kanan's lover and captain of the ship, Hera Syndulla. This gang becomes a close family and goes on missions together on their ship, the Ghost. The Rebels show also introduces us to Inquisitors, a group of dark side sensitive beings who hunt down the remaining Jedi left, who are all led by Darth Vader. No surprise though, he quite hated the Inquisitors' existence and often feuded with a sub-leader called the Grand Inquisitor, whom we see in the Obi-Wan show. In fact, the gang gets so rebellious that the Grand Inquisitor comes after them, but fails, which gets the attention of Darth Vader. After nearly escaping him, Hera contacts a secret partner called Fulcrum for help, who turns out to be Ahsoka. Ahsoka is now with the rebellion and has donned the white lightsabers, indicating that she is no Jedi or Sith. Ahsoka helps Ezra and Kanan train, which leads them to an old Sith temple. However, Ezra gets lost and encounters Darth Maul, who tries to make Ezra his new apprentice and blinds Kanan in the process. But out of nowhere, during the fight, Darth Vader comes to defeat these rebels. It doesn't take long for Ahsoka to leap into action and fight her former master without knowing who he really is. It is during the fight, when she breaks Darth Vader's mask, that she realizes the truth. Anakin Skywalker is Darth Vader. Ezra and the rest of the gang retreat while Ahsoka holds Vader off, and we never see her escape. We only ever see Darth Vader leave the temple, not being sure of Ahsoka's fate. Fast forward, Sabine has the Darksaber, leads the Mandalorians against the Empire, gives the Darksaber to Bo-Katan, Ezra trains some more, and Grand Admiral Thrawn is introduced. Thrawn is calm, soft-spoken, and highly intelligent. He's the most tactile villain yet, and an amazing strategist. He outsmarts practically everyone and is able to track down the rebel base, leading the Empire right to the characters. However, the Ghost crew embarks on a mission to stop Thrawn, but something goes wrong and Kanan sacrifices himself to save his family. Meanwhile, it's been known that Ezra connects to animals quite well, especially to Loth cats and Force-connected Loth wolves. We even see he bonds with space whales, who are creatures that travel through light speed, and possibly how hyperspace travel was even invented. Anyway, those Loth wolves show Ezra a backdoor into time and space known as the World Between Worlds. It is here in this mystical realm where he sees different events in time and manages to interfere with the past and save Ahsoka from Darth Vader. Although he wishes to save his master, he knows he can't interfere with time too much. Ahsoka then realizes that she herself is an anomaly and lays low as to not mess up time and space for a while. When Ezra leaves the World Between Worlds, he is captured by Thrawn and taken to see Emperor Palpatine, who wants to take advantage of space time travel. But Ezra destroys the entrance to the realm and is left to fight off Thrawn. Thinking he was defeated, Ezra summons the space whales to take himself and Thrawn somewhere unknown in space, using the whales' light speed ability, leaving the rest of the Ghost Gang behind, unaware where he could be. It's at this point Luke Skywalker destroys the Death Star, Hera has Kanan's son, and Ezra manages to leave a message behind, so Sabine contacts Ahsoka Tano, and the two embark on a journey to look for him. The next time we see Ahsoka is in The Mandalorian Season 2, when she fights off a Night Sister and asks her one question.
Where is Grand Admiral Thrawn?
And there you go. You don't even need to watch the pointless Book of Boba Fett show or the awful third season of The Mandalorian. Next time we see Ahsoka is in her show, where the rest of it is up to you to figure out. New things may be introduced and more lore will be dropped. If you want more explanations like this, let me know and subscribe. Stay tuned for my review, critique, and thoughts on Ahsoka the show.
You'll find I have many qualities for you to dislike.
Hey, did I ever tell you I had a massive crush on Ahsoka as a kid, by the way?